there's this video here from Reason TV called "Here's What Happens When Parking is Free," and I did want to take a look at this because I've been mildly interested in urban design now that I am building my own Minecraft village and city. So you know, the way that cities are designed and stuff to kind of like optimize their usefulness are things I'm trying to take into account, because I want these cities to be big, I want them to be sprawling, but I also want them to be good and high quality. And who better knows how to make cities than city planners and urban designers? So this kind of hits on one of those topics that I've seen spoken about, which I can't implement in Minecraft because there are no cars. But here's what happens when parking is free.
Come on, there's no parking in here.
I didn't just circle the block. I circled every block within a 5-block radius.
I'm so tired. I thought that pothole was a parking spot.
And you don't know anything about pressure until you've tried to parallel park down a one-way street with a garbage truck right on your ass.
One of our neighbors used a garbage can to try and save a parking spot.
Words were exchanged and fists started flying. And
in cities around the world,
That's crazy.
Drivers share a daily frustration finding the right parking spot. Free parking isn't free. It causes time and aggravation. Curb space is valuable, and by undercharging it, we create artificial scarcity.
But here, in Guatemala City, a system has emerged to address these problems. One not designed by policymakers or governed by meters, but by people.
They're known as cuidacarros, informal parking attendants who guard, rent, or sometimes claim control over patches of urban space. This is a story about how, in one city, a set of informal rules developed without a central plan. Rules that have helped to solve the problems created by free parking.
So the unfortunate thing about cars is that they spend about 90% of their life not moving. They're parked.
Nolan Gray is a city planner based in California, who also happens to be my husband.
So she might be a little biased.
So of course, in the best of cases, a place like Guatemala City would do smart on-street parking management, establishing prices that reflect actual demand and provide drivers with a good set of incentives and generate revenue that would improve neighborhoods. But short of that, an alternative emergent solution has developed to solve this problem, and that's the cuidacarros phenomenon.
Here's my thing. If you assume that a particular street is going to be so busy, or there's going to be such a high parking demand that it'll always be full, charging for parking spots decreases demand, because fewer people are going to be interested in parking if you charge for a spot. Now, it is helpful if, let's say, you have like a lot of demand and you want to curb that demand. That's fine. And I guess that's fair. But also, if you have a lot of people trying to park at a place and there's no space, they're not going to park there anyways. So the same principle applies. You know, in either case, people are not going to park in the area.
Cuidacarros, roughly translated to those who take care of cars, stake out street spaces and charge drivers to park in them. In doing so, they're creating an unofficial pricing system for otherwise free parking.
Y no surgió porque se dedique uno a eso, no, que de repente alguien me puedo parquear. Y dale pues, ¿y cuánto es? Vea cuánto me deja. Y ahí empieza.
Miguel started taking care of cars about 20 years ago.
People would want to park on the street outside of his shop, and then it just naturally evolved into asking him if he could watch their cars for a bit. It grew into a mini empire in which he collects fees from employees who manage several of his streets in different shifts. Tony, one of Miguel's employees, built a reputation for his reliability over decades.
Bueno, como yo aquí, a mí me conoce mucha gente de aquí, dueños de restaurantes y muchos clientes también. Yo soy muy conocido acá.
Tony works 8 to 12 hours most days, but on Saturdays he puts in a 20-hour shift.
Y hay gente que dice, ¿cómo aguanta este señor? Pero así es. Mi responsabilidad, como les digo yo, me encanta este barrio de aquí.
Cuidacarros make about $6.50 a day on the low end, which is less than the average salary here in Guatemala City, but enough for Tony to stay off the streets. Customers are happy to pay, since Tony charges just $2.60 a day, which is much less than private parking lots.
You know what? That number made me jump for a second, but then I realized it was probably crazy inflation in Guatemala.
Yo no conozco de mi mamá, hace 20 años que trabaja en una ocasión mi mamá no trabaja porque sí, mi mamá no tenía un estudiante.
In a city with high rates of street crime, their presence alone can reassure drivers, offering security that goes beyond simply holding a parking spot.
Pero nosotros nos vamos hasta que se va el último carro. Así pues, no tienen ninguna queja de nosotros si es regresante, ¿no?
Inclusive dice en un parqueo privado, no nos responsabilizamos por cuestiones que les roban a su vehículo.
Well, I don't know that this is a solution to the parking problem unless you're going to hire attendants for the vehicles. Because this is beyond just like, oh, look at us, we're charging prices for parking spots. We're literally providing a service to you. We're taking a free good that's provided by the state, charging you for it, and we're gonna also offer you a service to add value to what would otherwise be free. We're gonna watch it, make sure no one breaks in, etc. So it's a little bit different than saying like, oh, we fixed the Guatemala fixed the parking pricing problem.
Hay gente que me dice, mire, no pasa nada a mi carro porque hay cámaras, dice. Entonces le digo, va, sí, pero mire, pues la cámara solo va a grabar al ladrón que le está robando la batería o que le está rompiendo el vidrio. Quien se encarga, quien cuida, quien coordina, soy yo aquí.
Si tú como peatón estás transitando una calle oscura de noche y sabes que ahí hay un cuidacarros, de cierta forma eso te va a ayudar a que sea un poco más seguro.
Jose Palacios is the founder of PXP Architecture and the director of the architecture major at Universidad Francisco Marroquín.
Siempre con ese concepto de Eyes on the City, en el momento de que haya alguien vigilando, eso de cierta forma merma la incidencia de delinquir. Entonces,
Eyes on the Street is a phrase from the 1961 book, The Death and Life of Great American Cities.
I will say that it's great to see men stepping up and sort of, walking around the street to keep crime from occurring. But it's actually kind of sad because this is the duty of the state, to keep citizens safe, primarily. So there's got to be, I don't know much about the politics of Guatemala, but there's got to be some sort of very severe political failure on the part of the Guatemalan government, that things have gotten so bad that you need parking attendants to drive away crime on streets at night.
In the book, urbanist Jane Jacobs observed that regular people keeping an eye on the sidewalk is what allows strangers to safely coexist. And yet, many locals see cuidacarros as extortionists and opportunists, charging for something that doesn't belong to them.
Well, the reason why it's okay is that they're providing an extra service. So it's fair to pay. If they were just like charging for the spots and then leaving the cars alone and not doing anything, one could also consider it extortion. But at the same time, they're taking something from the state that's already free and charging for it. If you get something, you can do what you want with it as long as you have it, right? Let's say I give you a book, you can sell that book to other people, right? So honestly, it's up to it's the state's fault for allowing these parking spaces to be free. It's just using the system and, how ownership works to his advantage.
y entonces se puede dar una interacción muy similar a una extorsión, donde o pagas al cuidacarros o tú sabes que podría pasar algo como un efecto negativo si no lo haces.
Muchos lo llaman una extorsión, pero una extorsión es que le pongan un arma a alguien.
Hay gente que me dice, no le voy a pagar porque No, esto es público, no se preocupe. Vaya muy bien, le digo. De todos modos, no se preocupe que mientras yo esté aquí, a su carro no lo toca nadie.
Cuida carros who operate in a legal gray area often cooperate with local police.
Entonces ahí viene el apoyo mutuo entre los dos. Cuando ya son parqueadores declarados que los conocen, tienen hasta el número de la policía directo. O sea, es mutuo eso y es comunicación eso.
As Jane Jacobs observed, city planners often want to replace systems they deem irrational or chaotic, without appreciating the functionality hidden within.
I think the most charitable way to understand it is it's an urban problem to a certain extent solving itself. On-street parking wants to be priced. Scarce resources need to be priced, and when the government does not do that, entrepreneurial actors emerge to do it. And in the best of cases, you get people who are charging prices responsive to what people will pay and actually providing eyes on the street, and you start to solve a problem that the government's failed to solve.
I just don't understand what problem free parking causes, in my opinion. But that's just me.